Happy Sunday. Okay, I wanted to hop on really quickly just to give a little bit more clarification on the transverse engagement. Had a couple questions just come up about making sure that it's happening in the right way. So let's talk about this, because sometimes when we're trying to do transverse engagement, we actually end up almost bracing and kind of like pushing pressure downward, and we don't want that. So I want to just distinguish between the two. I wish that if I like pulled my shirt up and showed you my belly, you would see the difference, but it's just not that visible, and you kind of have to go more by feel. So when you are bracing, which is what we don't want to happen, if you brace, right, typically what will happen is you'll go, and it's this downward action. It may feel like you get a little bit of doming. You may feel like your rectus abdominals are doing the heavy lifting, and you may even feel some pressure downward, right, because of this. And often it goes kind of hand in hand with trying really hard to engage. So that may look like you are taking a fast breath out. It may also look like you're engaging really, really heavily. And then it's this, so you'll feel shorter. You will feel like the abdominal is kind of dropping down on itself. You might feel like your ribs are dropping down. That's what typically will be happening if you are bracing. So how do you switch back to the transverse engagement, or how do you find that transverse engagement? So I'm going to give a couple of cues, because different cues always land differently with people. So the first thing is think about a little less effort in that transverse engagement. So it's not, right? It is this slow, gentle drawing in. You might not feel much of anything moving, but it is a gentle engagement. So this, and notice the exhale. It's not quick, it's not forceful. It is a slow, steady exhale. And as I'm exhaling, the belly is drawing in. The other thing to notice, the difference, as I am doing this transverse engagement, I am getting taller. So as I take that breath out, I get longer, and I can actually even work with that length to help find that engagement. So I can, as I exhale, think about sitting myself up taller, and that will help me access those muscles that are making me taller, which are the transverse. So it is a slow, long, gentle exhale that lengthens you. If you're getting that transverse, you will know, because you will feel taller, longer. Okay, now the other thing, the transverse works with the pelvic floor. They co-contract. So if you are feeling your pelvic floor engage, awesome. Then the system's kind of coming together, right? However, you can work with that, because typically what happens is the pelvic floor engages first before the transverse. So you can sit and do a very gentle Kegel engagement as you start your exhale, right? So lift that pelvic floor. That will maybe help you find, especially those lower abdominals, those lower transverse, from the act of lifting the pelvic floor. Don't think about a big squeeze of that Kegel. Just lift the pelvic floor muscles just a tiny bit, and see if that doesn't help you find that engagement a little bit better. Okay, last cue, again, because sometimes just finding a different muscle will help you, or talking about it in a different way will help you find the muscle. The last cue is your ASIS bones, so these hip bones here, and yes, I basically am always wearing yoga pants. These bones, the transverse is right in between them. So if you lift the pelvic floor, as you're exhaling, you can also think about these bones kind of moving toward each other. Sometimes that cue helps you find the lower transverse. And once you find the lower, usually it's like starts a chain reaction and you can kind of get a little bit taller through the rest of the core. Okay, so just to summarize, what I don't want you to do is to like that. That's bracing. It's pushing pressure down. It's engaging the rectus. It's not finding those deep core muscles, and it's going to make you feel like you're dropping and getting shorter. Instead, we want to get taller and longer. So we're going to do that with a slow, gentle exhale. We can think about lengthening ourselves as we do it, which will help us maybe find it. We can also start with that pelvic floor lift, lifting. As you exhale, you can also imagine the hip bones, those ASIS bones, moving towards each other. And you will likely feel it in the low back. You're going to feel a little bit of muscular action there because that it's all connected. So I would not be surprised if you are not feeling, oh, okay, yeah, there's some muscles happening in my low back too. Oh, last one. Sorry, that's a loud truck going by. Last one is you can literally use your hands to give a little bit of feedback to the body to help those muscles engage. So the transverse connects on the spine and then wraps around. So when you do this, as you think about lifting up and getting taller, you can also start with your hands on your back. And as you breathe out, wrap the arms around to the front. Sometimes just simply placing your hands onto that part of the body and kind of mimicking the way the muscle engages will help get that muscle online. Okay, so that's like 4 different tips for finding that. So let me know if that helps. Let me know if you have more questions about that.